In this video I will show how to present this data as a table like this. We have 4 countries, Sweden, Italy, Japan and France, and we have 20 individuals with data on height on each individual. Down here we'll calculate the average for each country as well as the shortest and the tallest individual for each country. This is the data we start from. First thing I will do is to calculate the average for Sweden. I select this cell here and go to Formulas, Insert Function, and here I find average on most recently used. If you don't find it here, go to All and just scroll down to average. Here we go. These are language specific, so if you use another language than English, it will have another name. I press OK. Here Excel has suggested the range, that is the numbers that will be fed into our average calculation. I press here to control this manually. I select this whole range and I press enter and then OK. If I now double click on this cell, I will see the command average and then within parentheses the range, which holds the values that are fed into the calculation. I press escape to get out of this calculation here. Instead of doing the same thing for Italy, Japan and France, I just copy this cell to these cells here and the formula will be copied as well. I could do that by pressing Ctrl C, select the target cell and press Ctrl V. Press now Ctrl Z to regret and escape to get rid of the animation. Or I could just select the base cell and grab this corner down here, click and just drag it out for the whole range and let go. And this cell has been copied to these cells. I double click to check that the calculation is correct. It's still the average and the range has moved one step to the right. I press escape to exit. I check this as well, correct, and this as well, correct. Next function should be a function to find the shortest individual here, and we will use the min function for that. I go to Formulas, Insert Function, and scroll down to min. This function here. And here we have the description. Here's the command, and then within parentheses we should use number 1, number 2 and so on, or the whole range. And this is a description of the function, returns the smallest number in a set of values, ignores logical values and text. I press cancel here. Instead of inserting the function from the formula tag, I can actually write it in manually directly if I know the command. So I start with an equal sign and write min. I start the parenthesis and select my range. End parenthesis and press enter. This is exactly the same thing as inserting the formula with the insert function button here. I double click to check. Yes, it's this range and it's the min command. And I just copy this to the other cells. And I always do a double check to see that the range has followed. The last function to find the tallest individual, we will use max instead of min, and it's used in exactly the same way. Equal sign, max, start parenthesis, I select the range, end parenthesis and press enter. I select this cell and drag it out to copy to the other cells. Double click to check. That's it for the calculations. Now let's make this table look a bit better. I select all the numbers and I will center them and give them just 2 decimal places. I do this up here using these buttons. So now they were down to 1 and increase 2 decimal places. I will change the orientation of the header so that the text is vertical and not horizontal. I select the header, the 4 cells, and go to this button here and choose rotate text up. And I center this as well. I make them bold, and I give them purple background, and also a border around each cell. Could also make it a bit tighter. Like that. This cell here should be extended over all 4 cells, so we have to merge these cells. I do that by highlighting the 4 cells. I right click and go to Format Cells. On the tag Alignment, I can choose to merge cells down here. I select this, merge cells, and press OK. Now these 4 cells has become 1 cell. I center the text, I make it white and give it a dark purple background. I make it bold as well. I do that by pressing this button or simply pressing Ctrl B on the keyboard. I will format these cells in a similar way. I give them the white color and the dark purple background. I make them bold, Ctrl B. And I will give borders around the whole of the 3 cells, outside borders, like that. And I will give borders around these numbers as well. I give borders to the input data, as well as to number of individuals, and I will center these numbers. And last thing to do is to format this cell. I center it, give it border. I keep the text black, but give it a purple background. And bold, Ctrl B. Very last thing, I will remove the grid lines, just to make it look a bit better. View, grid lines, and select. And here we have our finished table.